1965, Mohamed Ghulam Dewji is a Tanzanian entrepreneur, philanthropist, and former politician. Ahlul Bayt TV visited Mohammed at his office in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to get an exclusive insight into the man recognized as Forbes' 10 most powerful men in Africa and Africa's Person of the Year 2015. Mohammed, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us about your background, where you were born? Did the place where you grew up have any influence on who you are today?
So I was born in a small town in central Tanzania called Singida. So we are originally Indians, but you're talking about 100 years ago, our great-grandparents migrated from India, set on dhows to look for better pastures. They ended up in Africa and then went inland. So I was born in Singida in 1975. I'm one out of 6 in the family. My sister Sabira, and then it's me, Mohammed, Ali, Hassan, Hussein, and Fatima. The place didn't have much influence then on me because I was very young and left when I was 3 from Singida because the education system wasn't very good then. So I moved to Arusha and then I continued with my education. So in Arusha, I did my primary education from 1st grade to 7th grade, then moved to Dar es Salaam. I joined the International School of Tanganyika. This is where I did my O-levels. This is a school where all diplomats' kids go and foreign students come. So it was a great time I had. And then I did part of my high school in Florida, in Orlando, and senior year in Tampa. Then I got into university. I went to Georgetown University. I majored in finance and international business, and I minored in theology, religion. Yes. So I graduated in 1998, and then worked at Wall Street for a little while, and then headed back to Tanzania to join the family business.
What difference did you see in culture and community when you moved from one place to another?
It was of course, people were very, very different. Singida being a very, very small town, coming to Arusha was more of a cosmopolitan. So I made many, many new friends, came across different cultures when I came to international school. I met a lot of American kids, European kids, Asian kids, and that gives you a lot of exposure. You understand people's cultures and where they are from, and it was a learning journey for me.
What kind of a child were you?
I was a very naughty child. I was always avoiding to go to classes. I was lazy. So I was a little intelligent in that way. So I was getting away by not studying as hard. So I would describe myself as being a very, very naughty child, yes.
Were you a bright student?
Now that I think back, maybe I was, because I was getting away by not studying. And the funny part was, I would go to classes and not take notes. And during that time, we never had photocopies, so when the exams would come near and I had friends who I helped out in many other areas, in social areas, and if they got bullied, I would always defend them. So when time came, I would ask them to copy their notes into a new book, and then I would read. And I was a top 10 student in a class of 30, 35. So considering I wasn't studying, I think I did quite well.
Mohammed, tell us things that most people do not know about you.
Okay, so one thing that people do not know, that I went through a really tough time during my primary education where when I would do things wrong, my teachers used to hit me. Now, looking back, I don't know whether it was legal or not, but I didn't care much because a lot of us who were not doing the right things were getting beaten by our teachers. So I got a lot of punishment. That's number one that I've never spoken about. Maybe it's reflected well in my life. But 2, I tried to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and I failed to get to the top. So my guide was saying, since we were the first, it's like, oh, but I can get you a certification that you have reached the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. But I said, but I didn't get there, So that was number 2. And number 3, that I was born at home on a table. So out of my whole family, I was the only one that never made it to the hospital. My mom had an 18-hour labor. I had an umbilical cord that surrounded my neck, and I was born with a midwife and a doctor at home, which was quite dangerous. So these are the things that people really don't know about me.
What is the importance of education in today's day and age?
I think education is the key to life. You know, when I go to Georgetown, and this is one of the top institutions in the world, that's when I realized that I was competing with the best and that I needed to put effort. So, you know, you need to have a right attitude towards education. I think education will give you a path to success in many ways. So I would urge the youth that never give up and always work very hard to educate yourselves. And education is a process that never ends. I mean, I still read a lot and educate myself on a daily basis.
What did you enjoy doing as a child?
I used to enjoy playing sports, like every child. And those days we didn't have too many computers, so there was a lot of outdoor sports. I used to be a big football player. I used to break my legs very often, but I used to be captaining my team. I used to be a striker, and that was my passion. So my grandmother, my late grandmother, then she was a very religious lady, and a lady very firm in her thought, and always knew what she wanted for me. And in a way, she molded my life. And so when she got complaints from whether it was madrasa or whether it was from school, where I was bunking classes or not studying hard enough, she would not let me go play football. So that was always bringing me back to the line, you know. So as a young boy, I'd like to, you know, be more outdoors, climbing trees and playing football.
Were there any particular sports you enjoyed playing?
Yes, later on I got into golf. I became a scratch handicap golfer. I went to a school called Saddlebrook, Arnold Palmer Golf Academy, where we played golf for 6 hours. We won the districts in Florida and the states. And when we go to the nationals, I played with this girl who was hitting the ball much longer than me and much more straighter than me. Then I realized that I wasn't going to be a golf professional. So there was a time when I got scholarships to universities to play golf. My whole family, if you come to our house, we have almost 200 trophies. So either my brother or my sister was a golfer or was a tennis player. So I went to school with Jennifer Capriati. Then she was the Wimbledon champion, and we were voted the most accomplished then at senior year. Now, of course, she was a Wimbledon champion, and I was a mere class president. But yes, sports has been a big part of my life, and I think sport is very important. It brings discipline. It creates a sense of competition, you know. And it you know, you keep away from wrong things by going out to areas where you could possibly get negative influence if you're doing sports.
Who did you look up to in life when growing up?
So, of course, all along I've looked up to my father. My father in a way and my mother in a way. My father is a very strong character. He has trained me ever since I was young. He took me to China when I was 12 years old. He's trained me to be a businessman all along. When I used to come back my holidays, he would never let me out to go and meet my friends or play. You know, he always used to say, look, their parents are dentists or doctors, but your father's a businessman. So he molded me. He's a man who has done unbelievably well for himself. And I look up to him. Today I am what I am because of him on the business side. On my personality side, I would give a lot of credit to my mother, a very calm woman, very nice woman, a very giving woman. And when I look back and think about philanthropy and giving back to community, then I always reflect myself on my mother, notwithstanding that my grandmother has also played a big role in my life in molding me.
Tell us about your siblings.
There's a lot of respect between us. I love them. There's an age gap between me and my younger brothers. Of course, my sisters are married. So the sense of, you know, a teacher and a student. But we walk shoulder to shoulder, you know, and they support me. and I really, really love them.
How was it like growing up with 6 brothers and sisters in the family?
See, the problem was that we never grew up together. We grew up in pairs. So I grew up with my sister, and then Ali was kind of alone because the age difference. And then Hassan and Hussein grew up together, and my youngest sister was also quite alone. So I didn't spend much time with them when we were young. But as we grew up, we grew much, much closer.
You spoke about your father molding you as a businessman. How and when did you start doing business?
So I got back in 1999. METL Group then was a trading house. Today, we're still the largest trading house in East and Central Africa. When I say trading, we talk about the import-export business.